new
conference
action,
will now be recorded.
whenever there is a new action, right? And then automatically it triggers the action, and then whomever is listening, whichever the process is listening. Here, our process was external table, right? External table was listening, and the moment it listens, it goes and then does the alter external table refresh. Because whenever
Correct.
you're trying to create an external table, you have to create an external table, and then for the first time you have to manually refresh the external table, and if you want to automatically refresh that, then you have to use this SQS setting will help you out. Okay. And then, so why do we need to create an external table? So what is it, so why do you go and create an external table? What is the advantage of external table?
So external table, like it may be like if we can drop that like tables, we cannot lose the data. Might be like a table structure is gone. So
Mm-hmm.
anyhow that the external
Okay.
location, the data, if you
Yeah.
can drop the
So
table, such a scenario,
yeah, if
we cannot.
yeah, yeah. I think you are from Hadoop background, right, Anjanelu?
Yeah, yeah, I'm the Hadoop background.
You're talking about Hive external tables, right?
Yeah, yeah. That,
Okay, cool. It's something similar, but why do you need to create an external table? So this is the question normally people ask you, right? Have you created an external tables, and then why do you need to create an external table?
So we can access the data with providing the structure, whichever data is residing in any kind of the storage platform, maybe it Azure or
Mm-hmm.
AWS or Google
Fine,
Cloud.
fine. GCP cloud. So that means, are you bringing any data into Snowflake when you
No,
create
we
an
are just
external table?
providing the link. We are just providing
The-
the link or bridge
Yeah.
between the provider
Yes.
and to the Snowflake.
That means whenever you have an external table, you don't have the storage charges, because you're still referring to the storage that is in your external storage, like AWS S3 buckets or whatever we talked about, right? So whenever you create an external table, right, what is the format that gets created? If I want to read the external table, what particular format will it be? I have a CSV file in my S3 buckets. I created an external table. And when I query my external table, what is the format that I will be looking at? We did create an external table, right?
It will be XML, right?
Come again,
Sorry, not.
think about it. Yeah, it's not XML. It is in the JSON format.
Regular file format. Yeah.
No, no, no. Whatever the file format that you have in your source, even if it is CSV or JSON or whatever, right? It gets you in the JSON format. Even if it is um, whatever the format that you have, whenever you get create an external table, it gets you into a JSON format. So we have to extract the JSON like column colon key that we talked about, right? That's how we normally extract that. Do you guys remember that? No? Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We can use the same.
Okay, so whenever you create an external table, right? What are the columns that are stored for an external table? This is another interview question. What columns get stored?
File name and
L-
value.
Sorry?
Metadata file name and value.
Value will not be stored. You will have the metadata file name, and there is another column called row number as well. So metadata file name is the one that gets stored in the metadata of Snowflake. Okay, apart from, because if you already refreshed three files, right, whenever you query the metadata file name, you will see those files. That means that is already stored in the Snowflake metadata. That is only the metadata of the external files gets recorded in the Snowflake. Apart from that, nothing else. Are we clear? Yes, are you able to follow me? So this is one of the other questions. So what gets recorded in Snowflake? Only the metadata information of the files gets recorded in the Snowflake. Okay. Apart from this, nothing else. The moment you query the external table on the fly, it goes and then converts and gets it into a JSON format, and then you'll be able to extract in a JSON format. Okay. And one more thing. I have, so how do we load data into JSON format? I have a JSON file. How do we load into Snowflake? Any clue? Guys, can it? Am I able? Am I audible to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So how do we load the? I have a JSON file, and we have seen the JSON loading, right? How do we load the JSON file?
We will convert the file into table structure, then we can.
How so? Which particular data type that we use? Yes, I'm getting a lot of background noise. Which particular data type that we use for loading the data?
ఏ ఇప్పుడు ఆ
Variant.
పేపర్ ఉంది కదా నేను చెప్తాను
Variant.
నీకు రా అర్థమైందా
Guess,
101 అని ఉంటది 01
guys, if you're talking, please mute yourself. I am not able, so somebody's talking in the background, right? I just don't want the others to get disturbed. If you're not, just listen to me. If you're talking, you just mute yourself. And my question is, right, I have a JSON file and I want to load the JSON file into Snowflake. What is the way that you are going to do?
We can create a table with variant data type so that we can load it and we can
Yeah,
store the data.
okay. You can create a table with variant data type. What if I have a table and in my Oracle table I have JSON in one particular column and the dates in two columns and then numbers in other columns, the primary key numbers in other columns. I want to get that table into Snowflake. Can I get it? You're able to understand my question, right?
Could you please come again, Shekhar sir?
So my question is, right, I have a table in Oracle and it is the ID is the primary key and it has two date columns and one enter JSON column. That means if you take a record, you'll have a primary key ID 100, do start date, end date, and then a JSON which has JSON content in it and the name of the. So I want to bring this into Snowflake. Can I bring this into Snowflake?
Yeah, we can create two data type with two columns with varchar or something data type, and the third column as a JSON file as a variant column data type.
Okay. Can we create a table with a variant as well as other data types in it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So whenever you're trying to get the data into Snowflake, right? Because this was one of the reason where, one scenario that was handled by one of the other guys who learned from me, and he's working for a banking company, and he has a huge table, and they are trying to get the data into Snowflake. They had these JSONs and columns and all this stuff, and they even hired Snowflake for consulting. Okay, so when they had it right, so guys, give me 2 minutes, please. Yes, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, hello,
Yeah,
Shekhar.
can you hear me? No, I was on mute. I having
Yeah,
some.
now I can able to hear you.
Yeah, I had some vomiting in the evening, and then something got stuck in my throat. It's paining me for a lot. So I was just
Oh,
trying to clean up that by eating something or something. So it's still stuck up, and then I still feel the pain in the throat. So I have to take some pills, right? I have to take 8 to 9 pills in the morning, and then 5 to 6 pills in the evening, and then 4 pills in the afternoon. That's what the doctor has given me. And then too many pills, something was not good, and then I had to vomit and all this stuff. Anyway, if I still feel uncomfortable for a while, probably I'll tell you. If not, let me share my screen. Okay, hold on 1 second.
Shikha sir, if you are not feeling well, you can wait for some more days. Not a problem.
No,
Please
no, no.
take care of
I
yourself.
see. I'm also getting bored, and I want to um, finish this thing, right? Because you guys been waiting for a long time. If you're
Yeah,
not comfortable,
but
I'll
health is
definitely let you know.
priority.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure, no problem.
Let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Not technical. Yes. Now, now it's clear.
Yeah. Show tables. So my EMPXT, right? The one, and then I have the details. SF training 100, or I think two of them. So if you look at the file name, right? Name is this one, and then I have two files here. EX. So this is the dollar file name. When I go and query this particular, select star from my EMP So I got the details with this one value, and I can see metadata dollar file name. See, so this particular thing is stored in the Snowflake metadata. Okay, we have three files: EMP, EMP3, EMP2, and we have got all the details. These are only metadata that you can get it from for an external table. Okay. No other thing that we were talking about is right. Creating a table. Create table. EMP. I'll say test 1, 2, 3. I can have ID, number, comma, yes, date, 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 and then variant. So you can create like this, and then whenever you're trying to get the data from any other source to this one, right? Normally JSONs, you will have double quotes in the entire JSON when you start with a flower bracket or curly braces, and then ends with the curly braces, and then all the values that you have, characters or dates, you will have double quotes, and you won't see any single quotes anywhere in the JSON. So whenever you're trying to bring in the data, right, you probably, whenever you convert them into a CSV file in your source, then what you have to do is, right, you have to use a single quotes and try to get the entire JSON and then load it. So that becomes a string basically. When you get into JSON variant, automatically you can extract it. Okay, and this was the solution that I have given, and then he was able to load the data and get it into Snowflake, and then the Snowflake team looked at it, and I don't know how senior those guys are or not. They were also shocked that they can get the data like this. And how can you get the data like CSV? Yeah, this is what we have done. So they were thinking that whenever you want to extract, you extract JSON separately and the other things separately, and then mix them somewhere in Snowflake with the other tool. And whenever you're trying to read, use a third-party JSON to read that and load into Snowflake. They have given a couple of other alternative options as well. But this is the best and easiest way. You get it as a CSV, the entire JSON, you make it in single quotes, and then get it into Snowflake. Or you can use the special characters to code the entire thing, and then you can get it into. That is the most easiest way. Okay, are we clear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. And then coming back to right the other part of it, right? So the other enhancement that was done is right, create or replace materialize view. And do you know, so what did we do right now? So we created a materialized view. So where is the data stored right now?
Materialized view
Yeah, and where is that materialized view?
in Snowflake, right?
Kind of a
Yeah,
table only stored in the S3.
that means created a materialized view, which is a table which has a storage, and whenever you query, you will have a computational things. But this particular data is stored in Snowflake, but you have referred an external table and created a materialized view. So you can create materialized views referring in external tables. So if you look at my EMP extension, this is an external table. Whenever we query this particular data table, the data is not stored. We are just trying to use query. Only the computational charges are there. But whenever you create a materialized view, right, you can aggregate the data and create data in Snowflake, which aggregates the entire data on your external state and external stage, external table, and it builds the data here. This is much more faster, and you can create materialized views on the external tables. Are we clear? Right? So when you say describe, select get DDL materialized. I don't remember the syntax. Let me see. Create or replace materialized view EMP as select star from my EMP extension. So this is what we have done. So this is you have storage charges, you have computation charges. That means whenever the data gets modified in your if you add new files into your storage S3 storage, it automatically, if you have set up the sync of it, it automatically syncs and gets you the data. The synchronization happens with the materialized view. Whenever there is a new data, it automatically syncs up the new data here. So there is one alternative that you can use, this materialized view. Instead of setting up the what do you call the SQS mechanism and then trying to replicate and then to refresh, right? If you create a materialized view, it goes and automatically syncs up. You don't need to set up this part. But the downside of it is, right, you're gonna have the storage charges and then the computational charges on top of it. If you have a huge number of files in external stage, about thousands of files, and you're trying to aggregate them, and then you don't have, or you have your hive that is in EMR, elastic map ready. That means if you have built your Hadoop environment, if you have migrated your Hadoop environment from your on-premise to cloud, or AWS S3 or AWS or any other things. So whenever you have the big data on the cloud, right? So if you have the tables, the Hive tables that are created, you can create external tables pointing to the Hive. using JDBC, and then you can what do you call? You can create external tables as good as Hive tables, and
Athena also. Yeah, Shekhar, by referring to Athena tables, right?
Athena can be done. So Athena is another interface, right? So where is your files being stored right now? What is the file format?
Files are parked in the form of Parquet file format in S3.
S3, right? Then you can directly create an external table on top of the Parquet. You don't need to have an Athena as well.
Mhm.
Okay, you can directly create an external table on top of it.
Okay. Okay.
So that is pretty much about the external tables. I think I have covered all this. We can create a materialized views on external tables. Only the metadata is stored in Snowflake, not the other data. When you create a materialized view, the entire data set with the aggregated data set is stored in Snowflake. You have to pay for the storage charges. You have to pay for the synchronization charges. And if you have huge data set, and if you want to have an aggregation top of the files, you can use the materialized views, or you can just create an external tables and then point to the storage that is there. But for creating an external table, you should have an external stage. You have to create an external stage and point to that. So I think we have covered the external tables part of it, like a refresh as well. Okay, and then I don't remember what is the next topic that I have. Hold on a second, let me pull up my slide decks. Hold on, guys. Yes, hold on a second. I'm just trying to search because I don't have my. Okay. Do you guys have the curriculum that I've sent to you guys? Because I'm just using a different laptop right now. I don't have that with me handy. And do you guys have the curriculum that I've sent to you guys? Let me share. Okay, fine then. Yeah. So let me share my screen. Hold on one second.
Shared it in your group. Please take it from there.
Sorry.
I have shared curriculum, our Snowflake content, right?
Uh, yeah, where did you share on the WhatsApp?
WhatsApp, sir. Yes. And will
Uh,
you just refresh it, sir?
yeah, I'm trying to do that. The same weekend, April thing.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get that. Yeah, now I am able to. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I got it now. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, Shekhar.
Okay. So okay, or we have talked about loading, unloading data. We have talked about using Snowflake, semi-structured data. We have to talk about date and times and binary. That can be done later part. And the next thing, did we talk about time travel and failsafe? No, right? Did we talk
We
about time travel?
No,
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 no, no.
no, not in detail.
Not yet. Okay, fine. Okay. And then we did not talk about virtual warehouses. We were talking about in databases, tables, views, and queries, right? So this is where we are now. We have to talk about, and we talked about semi-structured data as well. Binary is not there, so time travel and failsafe is the next one. Okay, sharing data, meaning. So these are the other things. So we have streams and data sharing and security part of it, Snowflake account, user management, billing, and all this stuff. And then security is the key and performance tuning. We have about 8 to 9 topics that we have to cover. It's gonna take at least because I lost 2 weeks, right? So it might take a while. Let me. So this is pretty much okay. So,
Shikhar,
mhm,
sir, I have one humble request.
sure.
It's particular to me. Could you please share some important entry questions? There is some internal requirements are there for Snowflake. I just wanted to try for.
I don't normally keep all of them, but I have other folks who have them. I need to check with them and then get you the data.
Please.
So yeah, I'll try to check with other students who normally collect and keep it, right? So I'll check with them and I'll get you some questions, some 10, 20 questions or 30 questions, whatever they get, right? I'll share it with you. So
Yeah.
if you can share me the JD, right? Then I can talk to you and tell which particular chapters that you have to look into and what are the areas that you have to cover.
Actually, it is a
Do you have?
migration part from Hive to what is that? Snowflake. We have some around thousands of
Mhm.
ETL jobs using Informatica, and they just wanted to replace it. And there are some scope
Okay.
jobs, and they wanted to. I just wanted to like what could be the best I can prepare for. So it's just
No,
give
no,
me
no.
a try.
So is it internal at your organization?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
So did they tell you? So you just know the project details, but they did not tell you what are the requirements, right? Did they tell
No,
you any requirements?
no.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, I'll just. Okay. So that means it's a big data migration, right? So if you're trying to talk about Hive to Snowflake means
Hi.
it's a big data. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So where are you trying to push the data into? What is your source for big data?
For source would be the flat files, generally flat files we use.
No, 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 no. I want to be very clear.
Yeah, it's
How
the
are you
flat files
getting?
only.
That's true. How are you getting the data into Hive? You said Informatica,
We
right?
are
You are using
getting,
it. Yeah.
yeah, yes.
So
Basically,
you.
now the flow is like,
Mhm.
sorry, yes, I just give 1 minute. Basically, now currently we are reading the flat files using Informatica and we are placing them in a Hive so that we can read some data and push for some reporting. currently what is
Okay.
happening. They wanted to replace the system. Both will be parallelly running for some time, but just wanted to start with the Snowflake. They already have purchased some account from client
Okay.
side.
Okay. So my understanding is right. So guys, I'm not gonna have the other class, the entire thing. This is, I just want to test myself whether I can talk to you guys comfortably, speak to you, and all this stuff. This is just think like an introduction kind of thing. We'll just have a formal discussion or whatever the topic that we are. We'll just continue that and we'll close this session. And then tomorrow morning, the regular 7:30 time, I'll have the next topic that we can talk. So I just want to test myself to make sure that I'm able to deliver and all this stuff. So my throat is still paining, but I'm okay. We can talk for some more time, and then the regular schedule will start from tomorrow. It's just an introduction for me to test myself as well, whether I'm able to talk for a long time or not. So don't take me wrong on this. So I just, because you guys are already late, right? I just want to deliver whatever that I have promised. So even that is the reason I started this particular session. Okay. So you were talking about your scenario, right?
Yes,
So when you are trying, you are getting your data in a flat files and you are loading into Hive, and
yeah,
then you have built some reports on top of it, and
yes,
this particular thing needs to be moved on to Snowflake. Am I correct?
exactly, sir.
Yeah. So is your Hive on cloud or is it Hive on on-prem?
No, on-prem, sir. It's on-prem.
On-prem. So then that's fine. So, so whenever you get, so how many ETL, how many files that you get every day? You have any idea?
It depends upon the it's basically weekly batch. We have monthly batch. We have quarterly batch.
Mm-hmm.
We have different batch. Can
Okay.
consider a weekly batch.
Okay. So if you talk about this data migration project, right? So let me tell you how the
Mhm.
flow should work out. Okay. What you have to do and what you have to learn. The first thing is, right, you have to look at the data ingestion part. So they might ask you about whatever we talked about data ingestion, loading and unloading, file formats, stages, and all this stuff. And they might have the files on your on-premise Linux box, or they might get into S3 buckets as well. So you have to look at the data ingestion of on-prem that we talked about and data ingestion of AWS, the cloud to cloud things that we talked about. Right? These particular topics you have to definitely look into it. And then
Sure.
you have to look at the external tables. The reason is, right, if they want to migrate it into an S3 or the Hive into something else, they might even ask for it because they might get the data into S3. They might, so the database objects that we talked about. So whatever that we have covered, right, definitely helps you out in talking to them. And
Sure.
the other part is, right, so basically this is the stuff that you have to look into. You have to go through the slides and all this stuff. I'll give you some interview questions on this data ingestion and all this stuff. And the other parts, right,
Mhm.
what else we have, if and if you are trying to build some reportings on top of it, right, there is another topic called streams and tasks. How do you schedule the jobs in Snowflake? And then how do you identify the change data capture? If a data gets inserted into a table, how do you sync that to the target table? And from there, how do you sync to the your reporting table? So there is another topic called streams and tasks. You have to go through that. So that is important
Okay.
because whenever you get your files data, right, you will be loading into staging table. From staging table, you will be syncing up to the main table, and from main table, you have reporting tables, 5 to 6 tables joined together. You would have run a query on these reporting tables, or you would have load the data into a denormalized table. From there, you point to the reporting part of it. So you have to look at that particular chapter called streams and tasks.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the two areas that you should, because I don't know how they are going to come, because if it is internal and you can tell them this is what it is, that should be fine. And they might ask you about virtual warehouses, and they might ask you about the sizes, and they might ask you about the computational cost. How are you going to design these? How are you going to look at it? What is the best one? What is the optimal way of doing things? There is another chapter called virtual warehouses. So the streams and tasks and virtual warehouses is the two chapters that you have to look into. And if you have any requirement with you, right, clear cut requirement, then I can definitely guide you in the best way. But for now, while talking whatever you're telling me, right? So this is what it is.
Yes.
And the approach normally what people do, right? First, whenever you're trying to migrate any system, you have to see what are the sources that are coming into the system. And the Hadoop system, you might have about 100 jobs that are running that are getting data into Hadoop. You said quarterly, weekly, daily, monthly, right? First, you have
Yes.
to identify what are all the sources, and those
Yes.
sources you have to parallelly load into Snowflake as well, because you want to compare both the systems, and then you have to run it for a quarter. Depends upon financial
Correct. Yes.
system. You run it for
Yes.
a quarter and then compare the entire results of the
Yes.
reporting from the source and from Snowflake. And first you identify number of sources and look at number of jobs that are running on it, and then you try to replicate the same thing into Snowflake and try to create a stage environments. And if it's from S3 buckets, you try to get it into a table, or do you want to have an external stages, you want to look at it, and then you have to replicate the same thing. It's a lift and shift basically. You are trying to lift the entire source and point it to Snowflake, migrate the data, and whenever you're trying to load the data, right? So every file that you get weekly, that gets loaded into a table, and that is an incremental part of it. But for the first time, whatever the data that is sitting in your Hive tables, that you have to migrate, that is a historical data. So that is another challenge. You have to migrate the historical data for one time into Snowflake, and then you have to migrate the daily feed or quarterly feed or weekly feed that comes into the source system also pointed to Snowflake,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that you have the data in it. So, and then once the data is done, then if you want to capture any change data, you want to create a denormalized table for your dashboarding or reporting purposes, and those tools that are connecting to Hive, they would definitely connect into Snowflake as well. So what is the reporting tool that they're using right now?
Altrix.
Sorry, Alteryx, right?
Altrix. Yeah.
Yeah, Alteryx, they have a connector to Snowflake, and then you can connect to Snowflake and you can build your reporting stuff as well. So you don't need to change much of the Alteryx that is pointed to Hive, can work with Snowflake also pretty much easily. And the development time will be very less with the Alteryx part of it, but this is how the approach normally goes to. And if they ask you how you want to do it, the reason I explained you is right, you can also present the same thing. Identify the sources, identify the number of jobs, identify the historical data, and identify the incremental data that is coming in. The first job is to set up your data structures in Snowflake. Second job, migrate all the historical data into Snowflake one time. Number two, you try to get the incremental part into Snowflake. And once you have the data, you integrate with Alteryx and test it out and compare both the systems.
Okay, sir.
Okay. The areas that you have to look in for the interviews: data ingestion, whether on-prem or AWS, cloud to cloud, and all this stuff, streams and tasks, which is called change data capture, and then virtual warehouses. How do you profile them? What is the best optimal way? File formats and all. If they really go by this, then that is the best win. So, and you have a different Hive tables, means what is the sizes of the Hive tables, what is the frequency, and how do you schedule the jobs. And you have to go look a little bit about SnowSQL, and how do you run files, how do you execute files. So those part of SnowSQL also you have to refer.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
that is pretty much about this particular thing. So I'm kind of okay now. I think I can go on for a while, but I'll start tomorrow morning at 7:30 the timing. I'll ask Sindhu to schedule a call in the 7:30 in the morning, and then if I think that I'm not good enough because this throat thing is still killing me right now. If I cannot, then I'll probably let you know by by tonight itself, so that I don't want you to get up for me in the morning or wait in the evening for me. I'm 99% positive that I can have the class tomorrow. If there is anything else, you bear with me. My I want to just finish up, then finish up with my responsibility as well. That's the reason even the Sindhu everything we're asking if you're comfortable, then only take the class. I'm comfortable. I can do that. So let's have the class tomorrow morning, and then we'll go with the regular schedule. Okay. We'll talk about the next topics.
Shekhar sir, one point like we in while loading the data in S3, can
Hmm.
we on the fly can we create the folders? For example, I have some date. For example, it is today's date, 15/5/2021. Within
Hmm.
that, in that folder, can I have subfolders in the from outside without logging into uh, S3 buckets? Or what I'm trying to say, can we generate some script to create folders via script only?
Oh, yeah. So you're talking about cloud, or you're talking about internal storage?
On a cloud. For example,
Yeah,
in the cloud,
that yeah. You can do that, but you have to have any third party tool like Python or Scala or any language that can interact with your S3, right? Or you can use AWS command line interface and do it. But if you are trying to do it dynamically, right, then you
yeah.
have to employ Java or Python or anything else to Scala to talk to the S3. And you can use the same language to load the data into Snowflake as well. For example, Python, right? I can create buckets in Python, S3 buckets. I can connect to my AWS and create the dynamic folders, and then underneath the bucket and load the data into my S3. From there, I can read and then connect to Snowflake, and I can load that into Snowflake as well. I have a couple of examples. I can show you that, but
Sure,
when we reach there, I'll show you that.
sure, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. Okay, guys. So, how are you guys keeping up? All good?